Mr. Edit Man presents. What is the dumbest thing you have ever gotten into trouble for? I got detention when I was about 7 for sneezing in class. The teacher came over to our table and asked who made the noise and the rest of the table pointed to me. My mum came in and spoke to the teacher after she asked why I'd been in detention that day. When I was in first grade we had a coloring assignment. We were supposed to color a hot air balloon, then cut it out. Being a highly logical first grader, I decided I could just color quickly and not concern myself with coloring out of the lines, since it would be cut out. My best friend tells the teacher I was coloring outside the lines, and I got sent to the principal's office. Luckily the principal had a brain and laughed about it and sent me back to class. I made eye contact with a best friend across the room when my teacher said duty in 6th grade and smiled. We both got sent to the office for eye contact. I bet that she told you off for not paying attention when you did not make eye contact. My high school had a no facial hair rule. They did not seem to have a problem with sideburns though, so I would just grow huge sideburns in rebellion. Basically a beard with a gap, shaved in between and no mustache. Most teachers acknowledged it as a loophole and did not care. But one teacher would always try to find me and send me home to shave. It amazes me thinking back on how much time she spent on the most harmless of rebellious teenage acts. There's always one. We were given school diaries at the start of every year. We filled out all our personal information in it, kept our timetable in there, and marked assignment due dates and so on. Despite the fact it was given to us, and we kept it at the end of the year, the school had a policy that it was school property and as such, some teachers went ducking full retard policing that. Any doodles or putting any kind of stickers or anything not remotely related to schoolwork was punishable by detention. And if the teacher thought it was bad enough, made you foot the bill for a new diary. We had to write about why we liked recess. I wrote about other kids not being nice. She wanted me to redo it. Something similar happened to my friend. The teacher wanted everyone to write a paragraph about their favorite part of the football season. My friend wrote a full-page essay criticizing the glorification of sports in public school. The teacher lost her paper and gave her a 0. This was high school. Also, Texas. Edit. My friend got revenge before the year was up. In her own words, this is what went down. To show we still understood the parts of speech we learned about in first grade, we had to pick a teacher-approved topic and do a slideshow on it, while underlining which part of speech the slide was showing. Deciding it was a stupid assignment for an English 4 senior year class, decided to make it interesting for myself by writing about the Agori tribe in India. The teacher signed off on it, not knowing they were cannibals, and was rudely alerted of the fact by a confused student shed forced to grade the projects when the student was confused whether to take points or not. To sum it up, ask your teacher if you can do a slideshow presentation over the Agori tribe in India. You lost it? That's cool. I have a second copy right here. I had a 7th grade teacher that would lose my assignments all the time. I always had to make copies. Then at the end of the year she said she never got my textbook back and that I would have to pay $50 for it. Luckily my Mennonite buddy Mervin found it under a bunch of shite on her desk. Mervin got sent to the office for snooping. Mervin is a ducking martyr of grade 7. When I was a sophomore in high school I bent a fork. They called my parents. Same thing happened when I brought Oreos to school. I once got in trouble for pretending to bend a fork. There was this magic trick of sorts I used to do where I hold the fork a certain way and act like I'm bending it on the table. Then snap my fingers and reveal it's alright. Teacher saw me doing it and gave me a detention. Even after I showed the dumb ditch I had not actually done it. Detention was for witchcraft. I was once working as a maintenance guy in an apartment building. Temp work. I got my hand crushed in an elevator door, and while I was sitting in the lobby waiting for them to call an ambulance, a resident asked me what happened, and I told them. Apparently, I was implying the facilities were unsafe and worrying a resident, which is grounds for firing. When I was about 9, my classroom was the school's computer room, which had 30 computers and no ventilation. It was the middle of June and the entire class was melting. I stood up and turned on the tiny desk fan in the corner. Our teacher came into the room and demanded to know who turned on the fan. I stood up. She yelled at me saying that it was dangerous and sent me to the corridor, which is roughly the equivalent of detention to a 9-year-old. In 2nd grade, I was partnered to do an assignment with a girl I was not particularly fond of. She sat a couple tables over. The assignment was not difficult, and I could do it on my own. So that's what I started to do. She made no move to come over to me. I made no move to go over to her. And a little while later she started working with the teacher helper lady. The teacher came to me and asked me why I was not working with her. And being a relatively shy kid at the time, I did not know what to say. I was sent to the thinking chair where I bawled my eyes out and subsequently transferred to another class the next day. Also, in first grade, I had a thing for coloring everything rainbow. Scribbled every color in the crayon box all over. This was all fine until I was given a picture of a street with shops lining it. Colored it the same way. Teacher got upset and made redo it. Colored it black and gray, and this was okay. During a computer applications class, while in HS, I changed the background color from green to blue. The teacher accused me of hacking. I was escorted to the office by security for the remainder of the class. The background was green, and now it's blue. Cannot explain that. I can. Hacks. This is something that I was told about by my parents, as I was too young to remember now. They went into my school to pick me up from kindergarten, and my teacher pulled my parents aside to tell them that I had done something that day. My mom told me her first thought was that I had gotten in a fight or did something terrible. My teacher proceeds to tell them my problem. The teacher had apparently asked my class about what we all wanted to do when we grew up. Everybody else gave stereotypical answers like fireman, astronaut, etc. When it was my turn, I said that I wanted to be a stay-at-home dad so I could be with my kids. This disturbed or angered my kindergarten teacher enough to pull my parents aside after school. I told my Spanish teacher in kindergarten that I wanted to be a garbage man who rides on the back of the garbage truck. She was mortified. At that stage in life, I woke up every morning to watch for the garbage truck. I waved to the guys who picked up our trash, and they waved back, and the truck made VRNNNNN noises and ate the trash. Beep beep beep. In 6th grade I was really shy and didn't have any friends. No one seemed to like me. Anyway, I was in science class and the teacher kept yelling at me to be quiet. I was not talking. I got yelled at about 3 times and started to cry. I pulled my hands off my desk into my lap and dropped my eraser. I bent down to pick it up and the teacher ran across the classroom into my desk and started screaming at me for interrupting the classroom. Even though I did not have any friends, the entire classroom stood up for me. The teacher apologized, but I still felt like shite. We had a substitute in 3rd grade, and a classroom helper, a student's parent, was visiting. I dropped my pencil in the middle of a lesson, and could not write, so I bent down to pick it up. The sub yelled at me for being rude and disrespectful and to wait until she was done, so I would not embarrass her in front of the helper. So I wait for 10 minutes and miss a crap ton of notes when multiplication tables were the shite, and bent down again under my desk. I got sent out in the hall. What the duck? In 2nd grade, I had to stay in for recess after laughing at the fact cows had udders. When I was 11, I was at my sister's high school graduation. The ceremony was held outside in the football stadium. As the ceremony droned on, my mom had set her camera case by her feet. She accidentally hit it with her foot and it fell below the bleachers. So I volunteered to retrieve it. When I reached the underside of the bleachers and grabbed the case, this old woman started screaming thief, thief. It was loud enough for most people to hear and slightly threw off the graduation speaker. Well, she also attracted the attention of a cop and he grabbed me by the shoulder and brought me from under the bleachers. I had to lead him to my mom and he tried to begin that he caught me stealing. But my mom had asked me to get it and she ripped the cop for interrupting the ceremony for her. The cop apologized and the old woman had followed us and my mom flicked her off. Then, when they left, she yelled at me for causing trouble. Just to be clear, the old lady yelled at you for causing trouble, right? Cause your mom would be a real ditch to have you retrieve something and yell at you for doing so afterwards. The old woman yelled at me because she thought I was stealing the camera case. My mom yelled at me for not sticking up for myself. I was in my 5th grade music class, sitting on the floor by a girl named Yasmin. Then, out of ducking nowhere, she leans over and bites my arm hard. Understandably, I shouted, "You bit me." 20 minutes later, we're both getting detention. She for biting me for disrupting class. She said I stepped on her jacket or some shite. Duck that ditch. I got kicked out of summer camp for kicking a tree. It was not even a particularly special tree. I was just frustrated about forgetting something or other, apparently. Kicking it meant that I had violent tendencies and was a danger to the other children. I got kicked out of summer camp for setting the admin building on fire. Some people just do not know how to take a joke. I once got in trouble for wanting to be a dinosaur during career day in kindergarten. Adorable. Damn it. What kind of dick teacher does not allow something so innocent and cute? The same one told my sister she could not be a mermaid. She was 6. Got yelled at in art class twice in the same week. Once because I brought my own art supplies from home, and once because I told the art teacher that using complementary colors was a better way of toning down a color's saturation than adding black. You're not allowed to be better than me. I have a degree. In kindergarten, while watching Bambi, everyone got really sad when his mom gets shot. When I was confused by this I said, "Don't not worry, it's not real. It's just a cartoon." I was sent to the corner for timeout. First grade, recess. Stood in a corner outside watching a drip from a gutter above. Got taken to the principal's office for peeing outside. I might have been a bit weird, but I was not that weird. If you are reading this, you made it until the end of the video. Smash that like button if you have enjoyed it. Bam. On screen there should be some more videos similar to this. So either go do something else or watch more videos. That's about it. There is no more here. What are you waiting for, a secret message or something? This is not a secret, but subscribe for more videos like this.